Today is May 29th. My name is Ian Kim, and I'm here today with Alina Park on behalf of the Houston Asian American Archive at Rice University. This is a continuation of the interview we were doing. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, welcome.
And so starting off where we left, where we stopped, can we talk about your college life in the United States after your time in the military?
All right. So I'm coming to the USA in 1956, September 11. At the airport, my mama gave me a piece of paper which is written about the farewell to the sun. She asked me, son, come to the USA or come to the home when you finish your education. But I didn't achieve my purpose, so I wrote my parents after finished school. My dear daddy and mommy, I like to stay in America. I got a lot of things to do. Then stay home. When I come here, Houston, as the first immigrant, I noticed the need. Students who were educated in U.S. to help the Korean immigrants. We need Korean churches, Korean associations, Korean organizations, and so on. So my college life began September 12 in American date. I had $10 in my pocket and one plastic travel bag with a full of the book, with 2 pairs underwear, 2 pairs of shirts. Unfortunately, I dressed well for the next 3 days of the airplane trips. So when I arrived in Seattle, Washington, first thing I was surprised at looking at the bathroom, hot running water everywhere, and free. So I wrote a letter to my father. Father, I noticed hot water running everywhere in the bathroom, free. Wonderful country. Now life began at the Davidson College. First day when I arrived at the bus station, I wasn't sure which bathroom I should go. I saw the sign of white only and so on. That time from my behind, one of the students asked me, are you Alina Park from Korea? Yes. And they said, we are actually 3 students. We are from Davidson College, Phi Delta Theater. Fraternity. I didn't know what you mean of fraternity or Phi Delta. But anyway, they said, we are to pick you up for school. So driving on the 17 mile from school from Charlotte to Davidson. Then, when we arrived at school at 11:30 in the evening, bright lights everywhere on the campus. I saw the young women dressed. That's like a wonderland. So I asked my fellow students, what are they doing? I thought that Davidson College is a boys' school. So they said, I felt, all of a sudden I watching a movie, Gone with the Wind. Young women dressed, men tuxedos. Then I think myself, I was just coming from the Wharton country, college student. Wow. So my life began at the Davidson. It was a wonder. But the fraternity, at the beginning, they told me I am a guest student. I didn't know even. I thought, yeah, I don't know what you mean, guest student. So I could not join fraternity because of Charter of Phi Delta Fraternity and North Carolina Constitution. So anyway, I cannot protest, I cannot ask, because I'm a full scholarship student. I don't want to lose and protesting at school. Then, 51 years later, I received a letter from President of Davidson College. Surprise. Namyong Park, you are now officially member of Davidson Phi Delta Fraternity members. I thanked. They gave me my education. So law is law. No reason to have a bad feeling, this American system. But I thank the American system. If they found something wrong, they make a correct, then apologize. This is what exactly happened at my initiation for fraternities. So I had a wonderful 4 years education at Davidson. Another interesting things I have to mention. My senior year, through the fraternity, I had the first date and found Alina Park as my girlfriend. In the last senior year, Alina Park came to Charlotte to close to with me summertime, and then found a job of babysitting. It was a rainy day. That house, Alina working for the famous some Charlotte, the movie, whatever, movie stars, movie programs, and kind of. That lady was rich and somehow famous. Then asked Alina to wash clothes. When I look at the clothes underwear, so Alina, not protest, kindly said, I am hired, I know, as their babysitter, just I don't want to wash your clothes. That point, instantly, that lady said, pack, leave house. So Alina took her bag and stayed rainy day in front of a house. I don't know how long she stayed. But next neighbor saw that foreign student who was working for that lady. How come I was standing in the rain? They come out. They asked Alina, what are you doing here? Well, I was kicked out because I don't want to wash the underwear. Then she took Alina to her friend, happened to be one of the richest women in North Carolina, Mrs. Shoeneth. She owned the 3 summer house. Do you remember the movie Hawaii 5-0?
I've not watched that.
Yeah, the 1950 had a weekly show.
Oh, yeah. Look it up.
She owned. So anyway, after she stayed with her, Mrs. Shoeness wanted to adopt her as a daughter, but by the U.S. law cannot adopt here if age over 21. So she took care of Alina as a real daughter. This is a story of the kind of wonderland. You know, poor girl came as a foreign student on a rainy day. All of a sudden, found the most rich North Carolina famous lady. We married. We married, and I was surprised. And even a wedding day, and she hired the driver, new car. And then this man was the finance officer to take up the all expenses. So now I am actually husband, and I have a pride and to pay some. But first he warned me, I'm a finance officer of this wedding, so I'm going to take up everything. The missionaries asked me, so don't ask me any expenses, just enjoy your honeymoon. So she sent me to the Miami. Oh boy! I said, God, how is it going to happen? This, you know.
How many people came to the wedding?
Yeah, they're from a poor country, so you were even, mentioned my hot water in the news. So anyway.
How many people came to the wedding?
We are blessed. We are blessed, and we enjoyed the 19 acres of house, huge. The two flower, what they call house, plant house. Every Sunday, and missionaries take Alina and the orchid to the hospitals and so on. Just a wonderful lady, and she become board of trustee member of Davidson College because of the, I am going to Davidson. She did good things. So I also served as the board of trustee members 13 years, Montreat College, North Carolina. So I majored in history at the Davidson College, but one thing happened. Becoming, not race problem, becoming the fraternity member after the long 51 years. And I thank the school. It was a wonderful kind of occasion for North Carolina, for Davidson College. I got one book of picture books. It's unforgettable memory.
Do you have that letter from the fraternity
yes.
that now accepted you as a member? If that's the kind
right.
of letter, you want to leave it at the archive library.
Yeah, I got it now. Then, next stage, after I become.
Can we also talk about your educational things in college, like why you chose to be a history major? Well?
Okay. Now, so Davidson College, I had a wonderful relationship with the student and enjoyed. Then Davidson is college is the religious church-related school. I was surprised to find out so many American early church missionary in Korea, in Kunsan, Mokpo, Yosu, the southern region. Later, I met all retired. All met is one of the most the memorable occasion. So at the Davidson, my life, the spiritually developing, try to find more God's life, what the God did, why I was suffering when I was a child, worshiping so many gods. So Without asking any question, I decided I better go seminary and I study seminary. Then I wrote my father after finished school, Father, I'm going Austin Presbyterian Seminary. Then my hometown was just upside down. My grandmother said, my grandson is going to become a Western church minister after send America. They're Buddhist, family. So I wrote letter. The American seminaries are different. There are so many things to learn. I majored history, so I am going to study church history and comparative religion. Don't worry, I'm not going to be minister. So questions solved, that kind of experience. Then I went to as ecumenical fellow at the seminary. Then after finished it, then Alina came to the Houston at graduate school to study the French literature. Then 1961, the Korean military coup d'etat. I cannot go because when I was in North Carolina as a foreign student, I wrote the letters, American, Washington, D.C. So actually I was in a blacklist. I was afraid of next 7 years I couldn't go, I didn't go to the Korea. Then Houston was the best place to learn this oil exploration. So I started oil company, working a part-time as a draftsman. Then I was curious watching all the revolutionary the pictures of human kind and animal. I watched 4 days. One of the paleontology supervisor came. Now I've been watching, you came here lunchtime every day watching that chart. Any reason you are watching? Can you tell me? I didn't know he was a Christian. So I'm so curious. I'm trying to compare the human development since God created, then animals picture, evolutions. Okay, now, if you are interested in study geology, we're going to pay all your tuitions. Then she goes, maybe. So you had any biology course taken in the U.S.? Yes, I took 1 year. Interested. We're going to pay you even a parking fee. So just go ahead and register, change to geology. So I was actually a #1 draftsman out of 20 draftsmen. So I was transferred to the paleontology section. Oh, my supervisor was so mad. You are taking one of my best and men. So I become a paleontologist. Then 1960, luckily, this new micron the microscope. Electron microscopes came in. So in France, they found what they call nanofossil. Then the geologists began to use this nanofossil to explore this. So I was lucky to catch that chance. Then those days had only 3 specialists in America. So, and also the oil companies started using nanofossil. So companies sent me Columbia University, Miami University. Now, just to find everything what about nanofossil you can find. So also company hired 1 professor the Miami University professor was summertime. So 1-to-1 ratio professor, I learned nanofossil. So I worked oil company 30 years. Then my enjoyable time was teaching this course in South America. I was invited 6 times in Venezuela. And then I enjoyed working oil company.
Are there any standout experiences at the oil company?
Yes, Chevron. I started in golf. That is my profession.
And how was it like being a Korean in like this profession, or did it not really matter too much?
Well, as long as the one thing good in America is you have a knowledge, you have to be able to perform your job. You can protest, you can talk. I didn't have any problems except one occasion in the promotions. So I enjoyed my job. Meantime, since I left the Austin Seminary, I was be able to find the first Presbyterian church in Houston. Then a year later, or 2 years later, I was ordained as an elder. So first Korean was selected as elder of that church. The oldest Presbyterian church, which was established in 1838. So during my service, I joined the Racial Coordinated Commission, or Presbyterian USA. So I have to work the establishing the immigrant churches here. So first thing, Houston Youngnak Church, Houston Central Presbyterian Church. Then had another church, now they're closed. And so I was coordinator to establishing Korean church. Then also, I was the first one to inviting Korean minister to the Houston in order to have first Korean worship service and at the Houston Religious Center. So while I'm serving at the church as an elder, and had a connection with the black churches, I organized, and I had one of the largest service joint Korean and black churches, 15,000. Yeah. 1,500 that invited. It was a big event. I was the making speech, opening speech, and wearing African flag, African cap. I was wearing a Korean dress and kind of.
Do you have a picture of that somewhere?
Yeah, I got all pictures. And also, after they knew, Montreat College, Montreat, they invited me after he found out I have so many connections with Korean former missionaries, Montreat.
I'm sort of curious about how you started these activities, or like.
Yeah, I did not associate the single these missionaries, but I met all more famous the American missionaries at the Montreat retreat. They are retired now. They have a retired house. So I served as a board of trustee of Montreat College, and meantime I mainly work in raising fund for the foreign students. I worked 13 years service, so I'm proud of myself helping foreign students. So my life education in America is so wonderful. I enjoyed. meantime, in a church service, there another thing. While I'm a member of the Presbyterian Church, I served 36 years. Every summer, took youth mission. 36 years mission trip. Most enjoyable summer helping those poor people. The reason was when I saw those poor people in Korea, I thought of my fellow Korean children. So building churches, taking all the good goodies, American goodies, every summer. So meantime at the church, I collecting the clothing, food, and so on.
Were there any memorable experiences during those mission trips? Because you spent so much time doing them?
Yes, and helping the poor people. So I thank the God, be able to. That's the reason why when I went in Korea, I was awarded the president. The award was in Houston, and then that award was because when I was a liaison officer, I worked with one of the American distributing CARE, C-A-R-E,
Yes, CAR.
CARE organization brings the food, whatever,
Nam, what memory do you have from these experiences during summer when you went overseas? Can you think of some memories, some examples?
Oh yes, during the war, when I was working in an American company, so many refugees. There was a highway, Suwon Highway. The children with mom, hungry, come to the American unit has a trash can. They dump every leftover food. They are searching food. So that heartbreaking when I saw the mom and a child, people. So I compared in a mission trip. That's the reason after first year, I better do every year, particularly help the children. So I told my youth group, prepare, let's take clothes and food. And I told my experience in Korea, how they appreciate when you give food to hungry people, how they appreciate when you give toys and clothes.
Which country did you go on mission?
Oh, you name it, all South America.
For example?
Mexico, Venezuela, Honduras, I counted 11 different countries,
Now, did you work with a particular organization that helped you find these places?
Yes, before we leave in advance, we asked the World Mission Board which country need what. Then mention, I like to help the orphanage and particularly children. Then we're going to bring the clothes, including new one, old one, then toys and the books, whatever they ask.
So orphanages, children, but was there an organization on the other side that helped you find these places? How did you find these?
This organization, American organization.
What's the name of the American organization?
Oh, I have address and name.
Is it World Mission?
The World Mission Board.
World
The Mission Board, yeah. They're going to tell you. So when we're building a churches, they help us. So we work together. So most enjoyable. So my life in America, as I told my father and mother, I accomplished my mission, organizing Korean, whatever Korean American the associations, whatever churches, and I did a lot. even American society in the church.
Also, as like a member of the Korean American like community in
Yeah,
like, for such a long time.
but some Korean criticized me. Why you are not going to Korean church? Why you didn't from the beginning?
Oh, some Korean.
No, at the beginning there's no Korean churches, so I organized, build more churches. Now we have 40 churches in Houston, more than 40 churches.
How did you build those churches? How did you build those churches? Like,
How do you, hearing,
oh, okay.
how do you build these churches? An example?
Well, of course, through the World Mission Board, they have church development sections. I ask Korea immigrant need churches, Presbyterian churches, so financially support.
So you went through what's it called? The World what?
Mission Board.
Board.
Yeah.
And you asked them for financial support. What they helped you?
Yeah, whatever they can. We need churches, I am strong for. So I think behind of this Korean organization, I always just, I don't need to become a president of Korean Association. I rejected from the beginning, becoming a president, but forced me. And that's the reason I told my father, say, I got a lot of things to do here. But the An Jung-gun, our 애국자, patriot, when he came to the San Francisco, 1886, he noticed Koreans are dirty. They are fighting each other. They are immigrants fighting when they had in the street in order to sell the ginseng. They are fighting each other. He saw it. It's terrible. So he started organizing, giving a Korean association. Then he said, we need to educate immigrant. So need the Korean association, need a Korean church. An Jung said, it's exactly happened in San Francisco. So I found all the original of the immigrant leaders, and from the Davidson College. I got here in the paper. In 1908, after Korean immigrant came in 1903, 1905, one professor from Yale, one newspaper man from New York went to Korea. Because American people wanted to know about Korea. When I was read his book, Shocked.
What's
Korean,
the name of the book?
This is the Park. Second man got a PhD in Chicago. Park. What the first name?
Are you think of the author of the book? Do you know the name of the book?
The name of the written Korean immigrant. I think I have. Well, I gave to Rice. Yeah.
You gave it to Rice. Okay.
The two Americans' name I got here. One Yale professor.
This is important. Sorry.
One Yale professor I got here.
Right. No, I'm just sorry. He donated a collection to the Rice.
Yes.
Did he talk about that?
Not yet.
That's so. Nam, could you talk about the collection of Korean war books you've gathered in your lifetime that you've donated to hundreds of books to Rice University to add to their collection because he had the largest number of books in English about the
book,
Korean War.
I think they have that one. Okay, anyway.
That needs to go in there.
The story is, after the Korean first sugarcane labor came at the beginning of 130 people, and then 2005, and so they stayed 5 years, receiving only $16 a month that they worked so hard, heartbreaking. What I'm trying to say, this book said, America wanted to know about Korea. So American government sent this newspaper man and professor, Yale professor. That article, that's heartbreaking. Koreans are dirty, lazy. Wanted to get from someone. Just include, I have it, but you can later read it. At that point, American thinks that's all Koreans are dirty and lazy, just uncommunicable people in Asia. That newspaper made Korea just down. So, as I mentioned, now we can tell American people how Koreans are now.
I see.
So,
as someone who was part of the Korean community in Houston for so long, how do you think Koreans have changed within America?
oh yes, and
Yes, changed.
amazing. And when you look at any immigrant history for the 50 years, the Korean immigrant, when I came 1961, 4 GI families, they are so lonely. Their family, American families, kind of go home. We don't need a Korean woman, and kind of attitude. No churches, so I invited one minister from Dallas to Houston. Look at, now they are on newspaper, more I counted 43 Korean churches. Look at Korean market.
There are 3 H-Marts.
At the beginning, one gas station, Korean operated, then a small group, one grocery store. Oh boy, everybody goes there. But the businessmen, business association, the sports association, more than 24 restaurants. But the Koreans are amazing how they're doing. So now also, we don't have, I try to research any bad word from a local people. No, everybody saying, a lot of Christians think Koreans are doing it fine. Korean immigrants doing it everywhere.
And
So huge development, Houston. So I think 4 years later, Korean what they call 영사관 established here. Then brought the law changed in the Kennedy changed the Korean. We can invite the business the Korean family. That affected. So Korean immigrant have two categories. One student, then settled here. Then immigrant law changed. They invite the whole family business. Business boomed in Houston. Look at now,
And do you think immigration has become more popular with Korean Americans coming to America, or compared to 50 years ago when you first came to America?
I think so, because nowadays immigrants are at least have educations and the kind of training before they leave the country for the immigrants.
What job does your son have at Jackson Hole? This is actually
Jackson over
relevant.
here, at the beginning, he was a manager of the one of the biggest, the finance company. After the name of died, they closed. Then now another big company is a general manager. My son lived in from the beginning, just like in Houston, knows everybody. Everybody says, hey, David.
And he's well accepted.
Then his wife is American, is a chief engineer, City Hall. So David, my son, is actually busy associating all the local people. So they love Korean. So as long as we do, as long as our Korean organization give good advice, good education to the immigrant, we'll be okay.
And I also wanted to talk about your family. So, like, can you just tell me a little bit about your family?
Okay.
And if you think, like, what are some differences between your childhood and your children's childhood?
Okay.
Did he tell you how many children?
It's a hard to.
Not yet.
Okay, how many?
I
You
have.
have to, how many? Yeah, sons do you? Children do you have? Where they live?
I have 2 sons, 3 grandchildren, but sometimes hard to convince what I suffered when I come here with the $10. So occasionally when they grow up, I said, son, I wanted to have a Coca-Cola, just only 5 cents. I saved it, I couldn't drink. I repeated, Joe and two sons said, Daddy, stop saying. We are tired of hearing what you experience. So we stopped. But if born and raised in America, they are natural, acting like Americans, eat like Americans, talk like Americans.
Marry American.
They don't like to forget about. They don't want to hear the war stories. That's the truth.
Are your children also like Christian, like Protestant?
Oh yes, they're all Christian. Yeah. So education is important.
Okay. Just for the sake of time, we're gonna be finishing up pretty soon. So can we just talk about any? Are there any achievements or moments that you feel really proud about, or are there any regrets or things that you wish had gone differently?
Well, now age 93, I'm retired. Come to the retired senior home. Only thing is I like to leave trace what we did. Worked so hard. Koreans are hard workers. Like me, we left something good for the next generation. That's what I like to do. If more people think of not only his family, but the future of our Korean next generation. That's the reason why American people love and support it.
So you
Look at.
So you want your goal to be like leaving behind a trace of yourself for the future.
Legacy. Why do you think that is? Why is that?
It's a Korean character. Our ancestor always success. 남보다 더 잘해라. Better than the other people. Do better than the other people. Oh, I grew up the same way in my family. Huh?
Then, do you have any advice for younger generations of Korean Americans?
Well, let's commonly say we are now in a big country. The systems are good. So learn more. Be courteous, kind. They express love, even to foreigners, even friends. Of course, in the family nowadays, Korea use 사랑해요, even telephone. Last time I watched the North Korean saying she learned first thing after she came to South Korea. South Koreans are saying 사랑해요 after telephone. I love you. I think it's a good word. So if school or our neighbors teach, try to express more, love your neighbor. We will be okay.
Okay. Alright. Thank you so much for the interview and thank you so much for your time.
So I love you.
And yeah, this will be the end of the interview.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, then you can let me know. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you.